Hello there, hi everybody, welcome to the studio in beautiful Derbyshire in the UK. The sun is kind of shining. It's bloody cold though, freezing cold today, but welcome to the studio for another watercolour demonstration with me, Matthew Palmer. Looking forward to painting a bit of a quick and easy watercolour, which means no sketching, and it also means that we're going to be using very minimal colours, and we'll try and do the entire painting in 30 minutes or less. That's the challenge. Set yourself the challenge. Once you've watched this, watch it back, grab a sheet of watercolour paper and just have a go at getting stuck in to a 30-minute watercolour challenge. That used to be a great TV show, Watercolor Challenge, remember that one. Anyway, please make sure you hit subscribe if you've not already. I'd love you to keep coming back to the YouTube channel. Keep hitting subscribe, and then just to the side of it, of course, there you go, the notification bell. That way it will inform you of the next demo, whatever's coming up on the YouTube channel. So please do hit subscribe. Hello to everybody that's tuning in. Also, folks, want to quickly mention at the bottom of the screen just here, you can see a bit of an advertisement for the Watercolor Workshop that's coming up on Sunday the 14th of February. You can see it just here at the bottom. Paint a beautiful peacock, a picture of a peacock. There's a bit of a tongue twister. Paint a picture of a peacock in watercolours. This weekend, Sunday the 14th, starting 10 AM UK time, and going through to around sort of 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon. Now that's UK time, but if you're not from the UK, you can still join in. You can watch this thing back at any time. The really cool thing about these workshops, and I'm sure lots of people that's in the chat, the live chat, will back me up on this, that you can watch this at any time you like. Now I'll just mention, we have a few spaces left for this workshop, literally down to single figures. So if you're interested in getting involved in having a go at some watercolor painting, a watercolor workshop, which is very different to what you're going to see today, because today is very much a quick painting, me painting at my own little speed, as it were, where this here at the bottom of the screen is very much a workshop. Let's give people some encouragement, shall we, to have a go at the live workshops and get yourself booked in. Get yourself booked in. The link for booking is down in the description below the video. Also, if you head on over to this website here, watercolor.tv, click on the workshop tab at the top of the screen, you'll see how to book in the workshop. We are down to single figures space wise. It's only £10 sterling, obviously, which you can't even get a coffee and a sandwich here in the UK, you know, and there's no better way to spend a day than have a go at a watercolor workshop. People often ask me, what materials do you need? Well, just to keep it simple, pretty much the same materials. Certainly paint what we're going to be using today. 3 colours for the workshops. We're going to be using the blue, the red and the yellow. Now I've got those colours here. These are primary colours, so I've got some light yellow or some cadmium yellow. We've got some alizarin crimson or some natural red. We've got some natural blue or some French ultramarine blue. But those 3 colours are primaries, and that's pretty much all you need for this painting today and for this workshop at the bottom of the screen. Brushes wise, brushes, 3 brushes. Just going to lean over here, elegantly grab the brushes. 3 brushes for the workshop on Sunday the 14th. For any of the workshops, if you're watching this at a late stage, if the 14th of February is past, don't worry, still get yourself onto the website here, Watercolor TV, click on the workshop tab and you'll see the latest workshop that's coming up pretty much every week. These things are taking place. A great way to spend a day, giving you lots of time to work. Behind me is a couple of examples of previous workshops. Here, of course, we've got the owl. Now that was done about 3 or 4 weeks ago in a virtual workshop. Hundreds of people took part in it. Really, really nice. Here we've got this beautiful river with the willow trees running down the side. Again, that was another virtual workshop. That's the brushes that you're going to use for the workshop. And it's a case of, you know, just book it, have a go. Lots of people paint live, wonderful way to do it, or lots of people actually take part in the workshop kind of after, because you can watch it and it's this workshop is yours to keep forever. So once you've bought it, you've got a space, you pretty much nailed it. You can't go wrong. But anyway, today's workshop, or today's demo, live demo, is a 30-minute quickie. So we'll start the clock going in a second. Let's take a look down at the palette here. In fact, let's take a look at the paper. That's a good start. We'll start with the paper, shall we? You can't beat live broadcasting. What we've got here, folks, is a sheet of watercolor paper, which I've actually stuck to a board. Now, this is about 1/4 imperial. If you're not sure what size that is, it's about that big. 11 by 15 inch is roughly the size. Now, this is watercolor paper. Watercolor paper is all about textured surface, and it's also about being super absorbent but without bleeding. If you put water and paint on a normal piece of paper, it kind of spreads. Watercolor paper holds the colour, clean lines. This particular surface that we can see here is made from cotton. It's 100% cotton, which means it's designed to hold the water the longest possible time. Really does make a difference having the right paper. You'll also notice it's stuck to a board as well. It's stuck to a board. It's a piece of wood basically with masking tape. That's a good idea. It keeps the paper nice and thick. The surface of this paper is what we call a knot, N-O-T surface, a knot surface, which means it's a middle grain sort of surface. It's not too thin, but it's not too thick. Lots of people go for the thicker paper because it's going to work better, but it uses too much paint. This is just the right weight of paper. This is £140. That's bloody expensive. 300 grams, 300 gram, £140 in weight. That's what it is. Okay, so that's the paper ready to go. Now we'll look at the materials. This is the palette. We're going to be using just the 3 colours. We mentioned them a little bit earlier. We've got a blue, a red, a yellow, keeping it simple. These are primary colours. So here I've got natural blue, but you might have French ultramarine blue. Here we've got a red. This particular one is called natural red or alizarin crimson or even rose madder. All the materials are available from this website here. Watercolor TV. The yellow. Now the yellow is probably the most important one. This particular yellow that I'm using here is natural yellow light, which is a nice bright primary colour, but you might have cadmium yellow, you might have aureolin, you might have gambos, but any kind of bright yellow, a crimson sort of red and a bright blue, and you can produce a picture. Brushes wise, I'm going to be using a selection of my own brushes. Some of you know that I've got my own sort of range of brushes. Well, here you can see that these particular ones are called Matthew Palmer Fantastic brushes, which you can probably just make out there. So I'm going to be using Fantastic brushes. I'm going to be using blending blades. Love the blending blades. There they are. We're going to be using lift out brushes. Again, all available from the website here. And we're also going to be using branch and detail brushes. So these are all my brushes. But if you've not got these fancy brushes, don't worry. Just use whatever you've got. Plenty of water. Plenty of kitchen paper. This is a coin wrapped in a piece of kitchen paper. That'll give us the sun. I've got that there. I've got a plastic card, which is a hotel room key card, because we'll not be using that for a while. And I've got the colour squirted into the palette. Now let's get stuck in. Come on. We're not playing games anymore. Let's try and get, come on, working together now live here from the UK. Let's try and get the likes above 100. Come on. There's 350 people watching live currently, as we stand at almost 4:04 UK. Let's try and get over 100 likes. Give me some thumbs up. Come on, go for it. You can do this. You can do this. I can smell it. Come on, let's do it. Work. 70. Come on, let's get some more. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. Okay, now I'm going to get stuck in, folks, to this, and we'll talk about colours and paints as we progress through the picture. It's good to get some kitchen paper as well, in case you start crying. 90 likes. I'm proud of you. Come on, let's get 10 more likes. 10 more likes. And you can do me a bigger favour if you've not already subscribed to my YouTube channel. There's lots of stuff on it. Please do give us some. Look at that, 108 likes. I'm so proud. I'll give you a little bit extra painting tuition for that. If you subscribe, I'll give you some extra tuition. Not really. Anyway, well done. Let's try and get to 200 likes before the end of the video. So painting starts now, 30 minutes from now. Let's do this. Now, I want to paint a nice watercolor vignette. These are vignettes, these sort of faded edges that you can see here. So not necessarily working all the way to the edge of the paper. That's good. 133 likes. Let's do this. Working as a team. team effort. We're going to use the large blending blade here, first of all, and basically using lots of water, we're going to wet the entire sheet of paper. Now, this is the boring bit, okay? Stick with it, folks. We'll be as quick as we can. So let's go for the... Can I just say a big thank you to the people that have just booked into the workshop for Sunday. Well done. You'll enjoy it. You will enjoy it. And I'm sure people that's in the live chat here will also give you some encouragement as well. If you've not taken part in the live workshop, it's something special to try and something to enjoy at the same time as well. So please do give it a go. So I'm wetting the paper, but I'm wetting the whole sheet of paper. Now, it's always good when you paint a sky to start off with a wet sheet of watercolor paper. All the skies that I've painted, have a look back at some of the videos on the YouTube channel, you'll see what I mean. We've all started off wetting to wet, so that's a nice coverage. Now at this point we don't know exactly how the demo, the painting, is going to turn out. There's no photographs for reference, it's just all from Matthew's noggin, which is a bit worrying if we're being honest. Now we're going to go straight into some colours. We're going to use the blending blade, the large one, makes painting skies a little bit easier. We're going to go for some vibrant yellow. Not a huge amount of the yellow, nice and thick with the yellow. Don't be afraid of the strength in colour. And like I say, folks, not necessarily working all the way to the edge here. I'll let the paint sort of disappear away. Don't be afraid to use your colour rich, powerful colour, you know? That's what it's kind of all about. It's all about keeping your colours nice and rich, nice and strong. Don't be afraid of it. Let's go back into the palette here. Now that those colours will calm down when it dries, let's introduce some of the red. So now we're getting towards more of an orange, of course. Nice fiery orange at that. That's lovely colour, that beautiful. Bring that in slightly above, sweep it down. These blending blades are designed to let your paint reactivate, so they do make things a little bit easier for people that have problems with paint drying, let's say. Bring that in. Beautiful. Clean brush again. A few people saying you've got an echo. Not sure why. Possibly. How many people have got an echo? Let me know if you've got an echo. Is it something to do with these speakers? Not sure really. Have you got two screens open or something? There's only one audio channel leaving the building, so I'm not sure why, if some of you have got echoes. Next colour is going to be a mixture of blue and red, so a bit of a purple kind of colour. Again, we're going to bring that colour in nice and strong. Notice that you can cross your paint together here, so you're getting real vibrancy. Now, because it's a blade, I can change the shape of the brush, so I can change it on the side, and we'll get a few ripples loosely representing some of the distance. Love that. I'm just going to clean the brush really well there, and then I'm going to come back to the yellow because I want to get a burst in colour, quick burst in colour in the centre here. So making sure the brush is clean, making sure the yellow is clean, nice rich colour. I'll bring that in. Love those colours. And then we're going to take this coin that we've wrapped in tissue. Now, if you've watched me paint, you've seen me do this 1,000 times. We're going to pop that just here. And you can see it takes away that sort of... Let's get close in. You can see it sort of takes away that sort of spot of colour, which is a good starting point. Now, we're going to use the blending blades. In fact, we're not going to use the blending blades. We're going to be using the fan brush the small fantastic brush, because this is a lovely brush for doing clouds. What we're going to do here is use some rich colours. So we've got this strong purple already, beautiful. So that's the blue, of course, with the red, nice and rich. Don't be afraid to use rich colours. But I want to introduce a little bit of yellow into that. Just a little bit, not a huge amount, just a touch of yellow goes into that. And that'll start to go darker, like a deep purple, almost towards a grey. And that's loaded. And then on one side of the brush, I want to pick up some of this sort of red colour. Take a bit more red on the side of the brush. So I've kind of got a couple of colours, and that's probably quite hard to see there, folks. I'll try and get close into the camera. But there's a little bit of red. You can just probably make that out on the side of the brush there. Perfect. Now what I want to do here is take this and put some clouds into this sky. Now I want to get a little bit closer in for you to this. Sort of lay it flat and just twist. And you get that lovely mixture. You can see the darkness coming in, mixing with the lightness. We're going to put some light in these clouds, so don't worry. But you always get a lovely display just as the sun's about to disappear. Look at them beautiful clouds there, love them. Rich silhouetted clouds. And a fan brush like these Fantastics really do give you that edge. All the materials are available, as we mentioned, online. So if you do like anything what you've seen here, get yourself over to Watercolor TV. Let's put a smaller one down here. And if we're careful, even just ever so gently over the top of the sun. So there's little clouds. Now all of those I want to soften in to the picture. How do we soften in? Well, we can basically clean the brush really well, and we're going to grab the blending blade again, which is this nice wedge brush. Let's get close in again for this. Clean brush, nice and strong colour at that point, and let's just go in and let's use this brush. Now the great thing about these is it's a special hair that we developed, which basically reduces the stress of drying time. So I'm adding highlights. Basically I'm lightening some of the bottom of the clouds, blending them in just a touch. And any bits I want to soften in, I can use this brush, and as long as it's damp, which it is, I'm really getting some light coming out here, almost washing away the colour. Water through a piece of tissue. Now at the minute the light is reflecting off of the... Yeah, so I just had a question come through there saying, is this the speed you work on the workshops? Well, no, because what I'll do is I'll do a bit, and then you'll do a bit, and I'll give you time to work. So very much steady, this is very much a demo. So if you like working at this speed, then a demo is for you. But if you like to not be in a rush, let's say, then that's where you go for the workshops. I'm just lightly sort of easing off some of the colour there to make that beautiful vibrant sky against that rich sun, like that. Strength in colour is always the key when it comes to these sort of things. Now all this will get balanced a little bit later when we bring a boat in. We'll put a boat in here, some distant mountains, that kind of thing. So basically I'm just using a bit of water, adding a few highlights, and the more you go over the same area, and I'm just wiping it on tissue every time, and it just basically removes some colour. That's all it is. And it'll dry naturally. So yeah, so if anyone is experiencing an echo, it's nothing to do with what I'm doing here, I promise you. I'm kind of working away here. I've got one microphone that's going through. We are live, please bear that in mind. Live broadcasting does have its little bits and bobs of challenges, as I'm sure you can imagine, but as far as we stand here, we've got no problems with any audio anywhere. We're all right here. Let's just put a few. It's so addictive putting the light in these clouds. I love this. So imagine that's the sky, and then everything below is the. We can just lightly tickle the edge of any areas that we're not happy with, because these brushes will reactivate the colour nicely. You can't go wrong, really. Is anyone keeping a track of the time? How long have I been painting? Not talking, painting. Been talking for longer than I've been painting, hopefully. Right, beautiful. So that is how that stands. Just going to make sure things are nice and soft here. Happy with that. Now, what I want to do now, folks, is I want to give this a bit of a dry. Now, I've got a hairdryer here. This hairdryer is loud. Talking about audio, the audio will go perfectly quiet at this point. So what I'll do, if you can lip read, I want to tell you a joke while the audio goes off, okay? It's going to be a good one. Maybe a new one as well. Possibly. Here we go. So the question come through there, the blending blades are just damp. So what you do is you get the water on them, sort of wipe them through your finger so they're just that little bit damp, and that gives you time to absorb. And literally, if you take a close-up look at that blending blade here, you can see that it's got two different size slopes, if you like. One's a bit taller than the other. That's giving you that option to sort of wipe away the colour, for want of a better sort of phrase. Nice and dry. Nice and dry. What we're going to do now, folks, is take some masking tape, long enough to go across the picture, and wipe the moisture from the brow. Again, listen, folks, can I just say, a few people have been booking onto this workshop here. Thank you, appreciated. You will enjoy it. The best 10 quid you'll ever spend. Cheaper than 2 Starbucks coffees. From a service station, it is. Pop that tape on. We're going to press it down well. Only once it's dry, of course, would we do that. First thing I want to do is grab that blending blade. Again, the large one would be the perfect tool for this here. We're going to take that brush. We've pretty much got the colour we want. It's like a purpley grey. You can make it more grey by adding more blue to this, but it's basically a mixture. Put some yellow as well. It's basically a mix of primary colours, not too strong with that colour. Wipe it off. Now, once it's mixed in, what I'm going to do is put one side with the grey of the brush, and the other side I'm going to take a bit of that red. It's a shame not to use it. We've got a couple of colours on that brush. Might as well make use of it, haven't we? I'm going to go in and we're going to paint in some distant hills, if you like, catching the warmth from the sky, distant mountains. Blending blades work lovely for those. That's my first thing to do. Clean the brush, give it a good old wipe on some tissue, kitchen paper, paper towel. Make sure it blends in. Again, we can use that blending blade damp, just like we did with the sky, and we can drag out some light with the edge of the blade. Just pull it down, squeeze it through your fingers. Notice I'm squeezing it through my fingers, and it just lightly creates that illusion of light, which works really nice, like it's catching the sun. Now, while that's drying up a second, I want to go darker, so I want to mix up a thicker colour. So it's the blue. Let's get some more blue. Some more blue. Beautiful. I'll take the blue. Again, that little bit of red. I'll put some of that red in there. Might as well use this red here. And then yellow. Tiny bit of red. Add the yellow, and you get grey. You can see that grey there. You can buy this grey ready-made. It's called natural grey. Again, everything's available from sort of here, watercolour, sort of around this area. TV thing. Okay, back to the picture, a little bit closer in. There we go. And so a much stronger colour, a much heavier colour at this point. Ideally that should be dry, doesn't matter if it's not, just use the one colour at this point. And we're going to go in, look at that beautiful, rich, vibrant colour, bring it down. Get some character on it, bring it as far out as you like. Nice on vignettes to expand outside of the page. We're going to work it in and overlap the first one. We can put some highlights in this one as well, so you can see that clear separation. Don't be afraid to use dark colours. What I'm going to do here though is clean that brush out, wipe off the excess on the tissue, and just give it a bit of a soften, so it just slightly blends towards the base a little bit. Now, I did mention earlier having a plastic card. This is a, wonder where that's from. This is a key card for something. And we're going to get close in here. What we're going to do is we're going to, rather than wipe out, we're going to scrape it out. So actually using the edge of a card, we're going to take away some light while the paint is obviously, you know, still workable. So these are very much kind of sort of speed painting techniques. We will come back to that and pop some detail on, but what I'll do at this point is I will take away the masking tape nice and steady, peel it down. Do expect to get a bit of seepage. A bit of what? A bit of seepage. It happens. Let's put the tape back on, but the other way around, a bit lower as well. Waste not, want not. And then what we'll do is we'll come back to, this time, the small blending blade, which is half the size. Again, if you've not got these brushes, whatever brush you've got, that's the same grey I was using a few seconds ago. I'm going to use exactly the same one. Don't be afraid to use it quite strong. And then here we're going to work in another area along this tape. Again, we can be a little bit, we can blend it into that first one if we wish as well. No reason why I can't bring in some other colours. There's a bit of the red, for example. It just all sort of mixes on the paper at this point. It all comes out in wash anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And then again, we'll grab that plastic card here. And if you missed it the first time, let's get close in, because we're going to go in and just put a little bit of light. Now obviously you've got to be doing this while the paint is wet, you know, otherwise it ain't going to do anything. And if I take the tape off, I'll come back on that. That should give us quite a nice looking edge. And then if you don't work too wet, if your paint's thick enough, you're going to get a good edge like that. No seepage issues, so that's all good. Now, common question people ask me quite a lot is, you know, can I go back into a sky once I've done it? Can you revisit it? Well, that sky's dry, we know that because we use the dryer. Yes, you can if you've got the right tools. So I want to blend in this cloud, I want to take it away. So what I want to do is get close into here with the small, in fact the large blending blade would be ideal for that. And I'm just going to grab water. It's a bit floaty, so I want to use water. Now this is not something, it's one of those sort of do as I say, don't do as I do kind of things, but we're going to go in with just water and reactivate that cloud. Steady on, Mr. Palmer, steady on. And we're going to reactivate it. Slow down, sir. Bring it in. There's another person in the studio. That's what the echo was. I'm going to bring it in. And see how it's reactivated the colour cleanly, without no issues. Some people like to spray, but if you spray it goes everywhere. But it depends on your style, of course. For me, I'm slightly more detailed. Sprays don't quite work for me. I'm talking about like a mist style spray. But for me, having these brushes just means I can blend those away. Makes quite a difference. Here as well, on this side. Let's just swap for the smaller one. And again, Listen, folks, let's try and get them likes above 200. Come on, there's 427 people watching. Let's get them likes. Come on. And also, do me a big favor, please do hit subscribe. I'd love you to subscribe to the channel. Loads of stuff. There's about 50 videos on here. Loads of stuff to come. So please do give us a subscribe, give us a like, and also a notification bell as well. Let's get a bit of softening going off here. So it's a lovely way to revisit a sky, something that you wouldn't normally authorize doing. So I normally spend my year traveling the UK teaching large groups workshops, you know, but obviously all that went to a standstill in 2020 and still is. And watching people paint skies, they have so many problems, you know. When these blades came out, which was the winter of 2019, I think, it just totally changed the way that we work, because all of a sudden people have the tools for revisiting and softening it. Look how that's given more, it's just softened them, just basically softened them, you know. And of course, on the subject of those workshops, the virtual workshops that you can see at the bottom of the screen, they've replaced the in-person ones. Let's put some light down here as well in the sky. I want to actually lighten around the sun. This is a lift out brush. This is an extra large lift out brush. Again, one of my own tools, but if you've just got a flat brush, the stiffer the better, or a matron, then it's going to be, sorry, let's just bring that in. Can you see I'm putting light in? Let's get close in. I love when the highlights come in. Can't go wrong, can you? Put a few highlights in your picture. Everyone's happy, as opposed to wappy. Nice clean highlights. Bit of tissue, wipe it off. You can lighten the underneath of a cloud. I want to put a boat in a minute. And of course, any extra highlights that you want in these mountains, these lift out brushes. This particular one, this extra large one, is lovely for doing this. It really just adds a nice bit of extra detail to it. And of course, anywhere that you feel around your picture, especially around where that central light spot is, you can actually highlight quite nicely. Bring it into here. Beautiful. Again, just bringing that little bit extra to the sky, that little bit of extra spit and polish. Oil paint brushes will lift out, but probably not going to get you the detail. But any brush that's got a stiff bristle, this has got almost like a razor sharp edge. Can you see that sort of crisp sort of edge? I'll see it focus on the watch now. There you go. You can see camera's got the focus on it. You can see that nice edge. Very stiff bristle, designed for the job. Probably the most popular brushes that we sell. But any stiff bristle brush will lift out, and it's a technique that really is effective. Love it. And you'll see it again on the boat. Okay, let's come down to the water. Love the lift out there in the sky. Really gives it a nice kind of sense of contrast, the light working with the darks. Beautiful way of working. Let's put some light into the water at this point, and for this I'm just going to be using the blending blade again, small one. Back to the palette. That grey's quite thick. I'm going to take some out and dilute it a bit, so it's just on the brush here. And we're going to do some horizontal lines, almost reflecting these areas. So I can start to bring in a little bit of the darker colour. So you can see that's just starting to catch that little hint of reflection. We used a slightly warmer colour over this side, so it's slightly brown, and I can pretty much just mix some of the dirt red and the dirt yellow from the palette to get that colour. So I'm just kind of mixing all this stuff together. Remember, I'm just using primary colours here, which is a nice thing to do. 200 likes, well done, thank you for that. Again, please do hit subscribe. That does make it's a simple thing that takes no effort, but it really does make folks. Can you help Mr. Palmer in the effort, the fight for 60,000 subscribers? Of course you can. You can be an essential part of that. Let's put a few little bits coming back here, not a huge amount. Yes, we shall be getting some highlights from the sun as well. But what I want to do now, folks, is painting a boat, and then we'll get some light coming down very shortly as well. So that's given me a little hint of reflection in the water, liking that. What we're going to do now is briefly give it the quickest of blasts with the dry. Remember, the audio will go off for a second. That was it. That's all it needs. I'm going to get some dry kitchen towel as well here at this point. And we're going to be using a lift out brush again, literally in the water. Just wipe on the side. You need water on this brush, or any brush to do the job, and working through the center where the sun is. So here we're going to start to add some horizontal light. We're going to scrub away some light. Now I can emphasize this a bit later with a knife, actually, craft knife. So a good old scrub. You can see that little bit of light. It's just starting to creep through there. Of course, I can attack it as much as I want to. And then just wipe it out. So I'm being careful not to take a huge amount off at that position. But let's just put a little bit of light in. And we'll get more light later on as we get towards the end. Now, just again, quick dry so that the audio will go off. There it is. And let's paint in a boat. Let's paint in a boat, folks. And for this, I'm going to be using a couple of brushes. We have the lift out brush, which I was using a bit earlier. And we've got a branching detail brush, which is basically a rigger brush on steroids. You can see this nice built up area that surrounds, okay? But starting off with this brush here, let's paint in a boat. The nice dark grey that we spoke about. Still got it mixed. That's the blue, the red, so you get the purple. Very strong, don't be afraid of it. There's the colour, just mixed up a bit more. And let's have a go at painting in this boat then. So just off centre would be nice, just catching some light. Starts off, weirdly, as a bit of a figure of 8. Okay? Starts off as a bit of a figure of 8. And then what we'll do is we'll fill in that section there. And then we'll come down on one side and down on the other. And then we'll just kind of fill that in, a little bit wavy here and there. Clean it up a little bit. Clean brush. Just a bit of a tap on tissue, literally just a tap on tissue for that. And then just use water. And we're going to soften all that in. We'll put some light in this, don't worry. We're going to soften it all in. Bear with us, anticipation's half the fun. And then we'll also bring in some reflection of that as well. Okay, now on this boat I want to put in a mast and various other things. But just before we do that, I mentioned this detail brush, this branch and detail brush. It's basically a rigger brush. It's basically a rigger brush that's got a size 10 brush that surrounds it. This is the large one here. So it's a lovely sort of detailer. You can sort of see it there on the camera. It's a nice pointy brush. It's a rigger brush basically, but it's got a reservoir that kind of surrounds it to give it a little bit extra. And then I'm just going to pop in some detail. I'm going to pop in some little bits of interest around here. We'll get more work on this boat as we progress, bear with it. I'm going to decide where the mast's going to be, probably about here. And we're going to reflect the mast, which we've not painted yet, but we shall. From the bow, we're going to come down here, almost as though it's moored. And then we're going to reflect that in the water. Bear with us here, this is where it's going to take a bit of shape. Just put little random bits of nonsense. Oh, we can do that. Just a little bit of nothing, basically. Make sure, so like I said, we're going to put some lovely highlights in this. Bear with it, bear with it. That's a rollock there. There we go. So that's got that little bit of darkness. Now let's put the mast on. A couple, I think, actually. Yeah, that's a good point, actually. We'll put another one, a smaller one at the back, I think. Back here, let's have another little reflection. The vignettes is nice. You can take it right outside the picture. Okay, now for the actual mast, I'm going to use this plastic card again, and I'm actually going to paint on the edge. Been doing that for years. On the edge of a plastic card. Put the paint on it, not a huge amount. Just sort of brush it on, and it's an easy way of getting a clean edge. And then we can revisit that, and then we can add more colour to it. So you've got to choose your spot wisely. It's going to be this one here. There's one. And then we're going to go for the taller side, exactly the same process, using the colour again. Just down the edge of a card. Again, I'm working very quick here, but the workshops that we do are nice and steady. Again, thanks for the people that have booked on, appreciated. A few spaces left. That's going to be quite tall. Now, if you don't want it quite as tall as this, you can actually take away some of the paint. So I want to take away a little bit of colour from there. That's probably about right, and I know where that starts now. So it's going to be about here, lined up with the reflection, of course. Press it down, let go. Gives you an instant mast. Now, I always say, once you've put that in, grab that detail brush, grab that branching detail brush, whatever you decide it to be, or rigger brush or whatever. Get it nice and strong, get some good dark on your brush. I'm just going to use a bit of natural grey, which is the ready mixed version of the three colours. But obviously you could use the primary colours. Try and avoid using the likes of Payne's grey, a little bit too dark in my opinion. And then now what you can do is you can beef this up a little bit. And beef it up a little bit, you can make sure it's got the reflection in, which we can just lightly put some little lines coming down. That helps reflections. Same over here as well, where the mountains are. Put some lines coming down from the. It helps to give the illusion of depth. And a few little ripples, slightly darker ripples, because you've got this rich colour and a beautiful pointy brush. You might as well make use of it. And pop in some extra little bits of detail, even a little rolled up sail with a detailer. Beautiful. And then let's pop a little bit of rigging on. Now I want to turn this on the side, and we're going to flick off, I beg your pardon. So it kind of just goes sort of to nothing. And that to me looks better than trying to connect it. Same here, look. There you go. So it just gives a bit of interest. And again, I love these brushes. These brushes are beautiful for adding that nice bit of detail. You know, like I'm just adding a bit extra to the water here, making sure things are nice and dark on these edges. Bring some lines coming down. That really helps reflections. Less is more for that. Even working either side of the light that you've removed in the water. Doesn't want a huge amount, but just a little bit of nice little bits of highlight. And like I say, folks, I want to put my favourite bit in. Bear with us. My favourite bit is to come, which is putting the highlight into the actual boat. That's going to really bring this thing alive. So what we're going to do is give this thing a nice blast with a dryer. Audio goes off, of course. That's nice and dry. Now let's just put some light in. A couple of ways. First of all, that wonderful lift out brush is going to be worth its weight in gold on this boat. Let's have a look at this. Nice and clean in the water. Got some tissue here. Let's put some light in. The point where that figure of 8 overlaps. Plenty of water. The more water on the brush, the easier it comes off. Can you see it's creating more shape? Even just getting that little bit of light down the center there. Also, reflect that area. Stab it away. It's just worth sticking with it for those last few minutes. Even just where the mast comes down inside the hull. Can you see that bit of light? Beautiful. And then we're going to bring in some light coming down here. So actually taking paint off with this lift out brush. It's just called a Matthew Palmer lift out brush. It's, yes, you can use other brushes. I used to get problems with, when I was pre-professional as it were, I used to try and buy a brush that would take paint out and always struggled with it. So finding one that did the job was a huge bonus, of course. Makes a difference, that, don't it? Makes a big difference. We've also got a craft knife here as well. And craft knife's going to be lovely for putting some light in. Where the sun is, along the base, the water catches, along the edge of the hills and mountains, and even along the reflection of the boat as well. So actually scraping colour out. If you're careful, you can pop a little bit of light down the edge of the mast as well. Almost just imagine the light from the sun just catching it. See that white I'm putting in? You don't want much, but just a little bit of craft knife scraping here and there is always effective. And of course it really brings the sun out. In the water there. And of course you can emphasize some light in the boat if you want. And of course on a picture like this, it's always nice to try a mount on the picture, just to give that nice little bit of a clear up the area, and just gives that nice crisp light contrasting against that beautiful, rich, vibrant sky. So there we go. We have a 30-minute-ish picture, nicely detailed, with a beautiful boat, of course, the highlights in the clouds, lovely reflections, and a painting that is hopefully had some nice techniques that you can take away and use in your own watercolor projects. I love the vignettes. They always look really smart, you know, and they just give that nice little bit of a crisp feeling and a nice signature in the corner. There we go, folks. That's a beautiful watercolor. Well, I hope it is. It looks all right to me. I enjoyed that. I really did. Thanks for watching this live broadcast, and hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Give us a like, give us a thumbs up, hit the notification bell, and if you like my style of painting, my way of teaching, get yourself onto this Watercolor TV 30-day free trial. Loads of stuff on there, but also really important thing to say, we do have a handful of spots left for this virtual workshop that you can see at the bottom of the screen. If the date is passed, 14th of Feb, don't worry, there's one on pretty much every week. Head on over to the website here, click on the workshop tab, and you'll see the next one. But looking forward to seeing a big chunk of you guys on this workshop. Sunday the 14th, 3 colours, 3 brushes. We're going to produce a beautiful peacock in watercolours. Take care, keep well, and keep painting as well. See you soon.